You won't harm me. Deal?
That Chris Pratt trick works.
Yeah. Oh, you're like, damn, girl, you got some dirty ass. Hey everyone, Double Toasted live in Las Vegas is coming up very soon, October 8th. Join us for a night of comedy, music, games, and a big after party. This is going to be our first time doing a show in Las Vegas, so it's going to be a very special night for us, and we want to share it with you. And if you've never been to a Double Toasted show, ask anybody. It's tons of fun. It's just like one big party that we're sharing with friends. And like I said, we want you to be there. So go get your tickets now by going to x1entertainment.com. So it seems like everybody has been waiting for this show. Lord of the Rings, Ring of Power, or Rings of Power, whatever it is. Seems like everybody has been waiting on this show just to prove somebody else wrong.
Sure.
You know, just to stick it to someone else. Mm-hmm. Y'all been hearing all the complaints out there and all the discussions and controversies or whatever you want to call them. You know, you got people who read one bad review. I told you that was some bullshit. Told you it was going to suck. People read one good review. Fuck you, I told you it was gonna be good. You know, people just waiting to go at each other, man.
I know.
All the racists out there, all the racists and the sexists out there, you know, they couldn't wait to pull out their favorite buzzwords and play with them, boy. Woke. Boy, shit just woke. It's like a bird or chicken. Yeah, man. Y'all out there getting mad over nonsense with this. You know, all those sexists and racists out there talking about, you know, how am I supposed to jack off to her?
What? I'm sorry.
You know, people talking about how the hell am I supposed to jack off to this female elf if she's all covered in armor and being badass? Doing things that man usually do. That don't arouse me. Told you not to put that black ass hobbit in there. Told you not to put them black elves and black hobbits in there. That's just unrealistic.
Right.
That makes no sense. Yeah. People out there talking about make Middle Earth great again. Keep it white. And then you got the Tolkien super fans out there. You know, they're talking about, well, Amazon didn't call me and ask me my opinion.
Right.
Or, excuse me, is Mr. Peter Jackson here? Oh, he isn't? Boring! That is not my Lord of the Rings, it's Mr. Jackson. Woo! It's not here. Yeah, man.
Gatekeepers.
Yeah. And then there's some people out there who just want to fail because, well, you, Jeff Bezos. Amazon's got too much money and you deliver my package late. Somebody needs to put you in your place, Amazon. And some people just want to flop because they heard that it's the most expensive show on TV. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, and some people just, they said, hey, you know what, that costs too much money, man. People talking about, you see, I told you, you could have fed a whole country with that Lord of the Rings money, man. Instead, we wasting on this. You know, there's a lot of people who just want to see this fail, man, or people making arguments. They want to prove something wrong. You know, it's hard to believe that there are some people out there who just want to prove that they can look at this fairly and objectively and review it for, I don't know, the show.
Who asked you to do that? Nobody wants that. Fairly? Give it a chance? Come on, man. Give it
Gotta
time.
have an agenda. Gotta have a bias going.
Who do you think you are? You ain't pissed off? You don't want to show somebody up or prove somebody that you're right?
Take your rationality somewhere else. It is not welcome here, sir.
Exactly, man. You know, the people out there saying the rest of y'all, you know, take y'all's bullshit somewhere else. Fight that out in a cage match or something. You know, there are some people who just want to come in and see a show and just judge this show. And this is crazy, but judge it on storytelling and characters? Who the fuck do you think you are? You think you better than me?
There you go.
Yeah. But I think that's who I want to be. I think that's who you want to be.
I always want to be that.
I don't know if he wants to do that because he look close to this now.
Oh, that's true.
I think I can.
You think you
judge
can?
it.
That's good.
You can put it aside.
Yeah, I can put all that aside.
All right,
Okay.
all right, I'm counting on you.
Yep.
Yeah, because people, that's what we all want to do here. But we want to come in here and look at this fairly and look at it just based on story and character alone. All this other stuff doesn't need to be around. All this stuff is nonsense. But even the most unbiased person out there, well, they have their biases.
Well, you think you're unbiased until they do one thing you don't like.
Yep.
And then all those biases that you were holding back suddenly flood in.
Exactly, Martin. Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer. We've all seen it. It's a gorgeous trailer. We can all agree on that. If nothing else, everybody says, I hate it, but it's pretty.
It looks damn good.
And it looks good. I hate your pretty ass. So let's go ahead and take a look at this gorgeous trailer, and we'll come back to tell you how we feel about the rest of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. So this is already out. We tried to get some episodes early. A lot of people saw the 2 episodes.
Oh, they sent the 2 episodes early? Like a couple of hours before it actually aired?
Yeah, I had to beg for those.
Dang.
And when I say I had to beg, I was begging like 2 days before, but when I was out of town and just stopped asking. Kevin just followed up one more time, and he just said, what time is it? Well, fuck it, take it. So, man, that was like a minute before this premiere.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's seen the 2 episodes that is out there right now. So it's kind of cool to be able to review something when everybody else knows what we're getting into.
Sure.
That I like doing that also. So it's not a problem. And the thing with this is that I think that I can be fair with this, man, because first of all, I am honest with this. When I say that I'm honest, I'm saying that because I know that a large part of this show is meant for the Tolkien fans out there. And I'm going to just let you know that, listen, I read the books in elementary school and in 9th grade. The Hobbit is one of my favorite books and is also one of my favorite animated movies out there, man. I love that old Rankin Bass Hobbit, man. If y'all remember that from back in 1979. Shit, I still find myself going around the house talking about the greatest adventure. Some of y'all youngsters out there don't know about that. You better check this out right here, man. This is actually a great movie. Just to let you know that, look, I'm a fan, but I'm a very casual fan. I got nothing on hardcore fans like yourself out there.
I wouldn't
with this.
consider myself a hardcore fan. I don't know
You
where that's
wouldn't?
coming from. No, man.
Oh, okay.
I've read the books. I've seen the movies. But,
I will tell you this. I am such a casual that somebody like you, I'm sure you know more about the lore. You've kept up with it more. Because I don't
bit.
watch, I've only seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy, a couple of times. I think it's great. But listen, I can't compare against those fans out there who really, really love this stuff. When it comes to like people who really love Lord of the Rings and somebody like myself, I'm a tourist with this. I'm that fool walking around Middle Earth with a Hawaiian shirt on. Stopping hobbits, asking for directions and shit.
Well, I'm the guy who's with you asking you about things.
Yeah.
So you got the map. Where do we go next? I don't know what any of this is. It looks cool.
Exactly.
But you tell me what to do.
Yo, man, where the dragons at? I'm that dude walking around looking lost. When it compares to the people out there who really love Tolkien and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I'm looking for the booth that sells the turkey wings.
Yeah. Yeah. Walking around with a can of Coke and shit. Taking pictures of everything. Will you watch what the fuck you going to say? Yeah. And I want to say that. I needed to say that because I want to be honest with you and myself and admit that maybe this show is not meant for the casual person like myself. I'm going to get into what everybody else feels like in the room, but with this show, I'm not invested in this at all. The most action-packed part of this show was me fighting sleep. Sleep was winning. You should have seen me trying to watch this. Sleep just knocking the fuck out of me. My head was just not going back and forth, man. I say this because, and I'm not trying to be I'm not sitting up here trying to be a snob about this. I'm not trying to sit up here and be a smartass about this. I'm not talking down on this like other people are criticizing this. I'm saying this because, as I said, I'm a casual, and so maybe the fans who really are into this and deep into the details of this property, maybe this is the one that's meant for them out there. You know, because I just didn't find myself into it that much, man, and I will explain why in a little bit. You know, I will go over certain points, and I'm gonna tell you something, man. It pains me. It pains me to actually say that, because I think that it more than ever, it's important for people, minorities or brown people, or especially black people, to see themselves in fantasy.
Sure.
You know, but fantasy is that. Science fiction is cool, you know, history now is kind of cool, but fantasy is still that weird place where when you see black people talk about what the fuck, and it's fantasy, y'all.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want to with it. People see a black elf and they get all kind of crazy, man. But I do think, you know, I want to see a badass brown or black elf. You know, I want to see black warriors and women and whatnot take on these lead roles in these properties where they are, you know, they're the badasses, they're the leading characters. Because all of us have grown up with fantasy and loved it. But even we have grown up saying, well, and we don't mean this bad, but that's white people shit. Yeah.
Well, imagine that if all that stuff actually happened, but it was always written in such a way that it kept those characters of color out. And now it's being presented with them in there.
Yeah. Well, again, a lot of people, the reason why they, you know, I say a lot of people say it's unrealistic is because people still, they look at fantasy and still think back to medieval times.
Medieval England.
Medieval England, which was, of course, you know, Anglo-Saxon, you know, dominated by white people, of course, you know, but this is fantasy stuff, man, you know, and I think everybody is invested in fantasy and want to see themselves in that. So it pains me. It hurts me to say that. I want to support this more. As a casual fan of this, I do think I have some valid criticism as to why I feel like I do.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why is I can use this as an example to point why this is not appealing to me as much, and why I think somebody who did approach this property and do it, why they did it better. Peter Jackson, of course, is what I'm talking about. You know, of course, he did the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I don't want to hold the shadow of that movie over this series, but...
He's seeking it all. His thought is bent on it.
Even listening to that part right there kind of is going to be an example of why I think that this series doesn't work as well as those movies. Like I said, I don't want to hold the shadow of those movies over this series right here, but it's hard not to when Peter Jackson, I think, did an excellent job at adapting this, not only for hardcore fans of the books, but for a more general audience too. Because this is very dense material. But Peter Jackson, he adapted it in a way that appeals to the hardcore fans and the general audience because, you know, while the material is heavy, Peter Jackson emphasized, at least for me, when I really thought about this, he emphasized three things that I think made this accessible to a lot of people, not just hardcore fans out there. I'll tell you what those three things are. One, he made a lot of clarity with this for everybody out there by doing something that we all love, a simple quest. You know, Lord of the Rings, there was a lot of things happening in that movie, but we knew one thing: get rid of that goddamn ring. You know, that was clear from the beginning. Two, speaking about the ring and getting rid of that, you know, for all the things that were happening, everything that was a threat was a clear threat. You know, we knew that the ring was a threat, but we also knew why certain assholes out there wanted it. You know, and there were several. But the goal was clear as to why everybody wanted that. Either they wanted it because they wanted ultimate power, or they were cracked out and that was their addiction, you know, whatever
Sure.
it was clear. Character. You know, when we saw Frodo and the gang in those movies, they were mythical.
Frodo and the gang.
Coming soon, Amazon.
You know, the Lord of the Rings, Frodo and the gang, you know, that was the subtitle. We reviewed that, Mark. We reviewed that earlier. Yeah.
Well, it's better than what I thought of before, Frodo and Friends. But yeah, Frodo and the boys. They, you know, look, they were mythical creatures, but they were regular folks just like us too. And everybody, listen, this is classic storytelling. You know, they were regular people like us. They were relatable, average Joes, but they were average Joes who were swept up in a in this big adventure. And we can relate to this because we relate to people who are average, just like us, but all of us dream at some point of being swept up in something bigger than us. You know, and that was relatable. The appeal of Lord of the Rings storytelling, the Peter Jackson movies, is not, I don't feel is here in this series for me. And I can extrapolate on that, you know, a little bit more.
I'll say, you know, after watching both episodes, I think I like the second one better. But I feel like the big problem that the first one had was pacing and just not a clear idea of where we kind of are. Like they did that kind of whole. It reminds me of when we did our fellowship review. Well, I thought Jackson did such a great job of establishing. Okay, this is what's happened in 5 minutes. All right, there's this big war, and then there's this ring, like all of that, and then we introduce you to these characters, and it becomes very intimate. What I think this series is having issue right now is that, you know, it feels similar to Game of Thrones, except what if we started the show in season 5 of Game of Thrones? It's where everyone
just jump
is.
Right into
We're
it.
just I don't get a sense of connection to anyone right now, and you're throwing a lot of big dense terminology at me, and that's a little confusing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm feeling when I say that, because somebody already said it's not fair to compare Lord of the Rings to the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings to this, because Peter Jackson had the right to the books. This series does. They're making a lot of stuff up.
They're using the appendices.
Yeah, appendices. But that my argument would be, it doesn't matter what the material is that you have. He adapted it, and like I said, Peter Jackson condensed a lot of stuff and adapted it in a way that made you really like these characters, relate to these characters, made you feel like you were swept up in this story because it was easily accessible. Storytelling is storytelling, no matter where you adapt it from, whether from appendix or whether it's from a whole book. I don't think the storytelling is very good here for the reason that you said. You were dropped into. I feel like I just got dropped off at a party. Nobody's saying hi to me. Nobody's telling me who they are. Nobody's explaining anything to me. I'm just dropped in the middle of this world, and I don't get to relate to any of these characters. I don't feel for any of them. I don't know them. There's nothing to actually grab my hand and make me feel like I'm invested in this. But I just don't. Again, it doesn't matter where it's from. It's just like with Star Wars. You know, people say, "Oh, you don't like Star Wars because Star Wars is not your Star Wars." No, I don't like Star Wars today because I think the storytelling sucks. Storytelling is storytelling, no matter what you take it from, and I don't think it's working out here very well. It could later on, but I just don't think it's working with the 2 episodes we have right now.
Prior to this coming on, watching the trailer, I was like, well, I don't really know you guys, and I don't know if I'm going to give a shit about what's happening here. And I said the same thing with House of the Dragon, where it was just that, all right, you before, and I don't know. And then watching House of the Dragon with the first episode, I was like, I'm liking this, but I'm not really attached to anybody. And then by the second episode, I was like, actually, I am now. That's what I needed, was to have that second episode and to see what's going on and way things are playing out. And it quickly turned into, oh wow, I'm quickly invested, want to see where it goes. And with this, you're right. With the first episode, it is a huge information dump, but a lot of it is following Galadriel, everything with her brother and the war. And I think she is a compelling character. And while it can't be the Peter Jackson movies, because the guy had, top-notch actors, like they're like an amazing cast, and you're gonna have Sir Ian McKellen. He's gonna suck you in. But it's so much of that going for it. Here we have a lot of unknown actors, but I found myself surprisingly really into it.
To address a couple of things, somebody said Game of Thrones did the same thing that this is doing. No, it did not. Once you watch the first episode of Game of Thrones and you see what happens, that's why Game of Thrones was so popular, because they hooked people in. If you just watch one episode, there was always a cliffhanger that happened with the storytelling. There was always a betrayal of a character or something that really made you want to come back and figure out what's going on. Again, the storytelling was clear. And somebody said that you and me just want action. Fuck,
As much as, you can make the comparison like, well, Peter Jackson did this. I don't know. I don't mind this being something different, even in the storytelling. It's in the same world, so there's something familiar, but it's also something new and different.
Here's the thing with this, man. This is I tell you one of my things with this. I'll start with the characters of why I don't think I like them, because I think the characters are a mixed bag. There's some groups of characters that I like, and then there's some that I don't, and I figured out why. And it's going to sound very racist when I tell you. That's because I don't like the elves. I think the elves are just full of themselves. They think they're better than other people.
Well, that's how the dwarves
yeah,
felt about
I know.
them.
I know. Well, they're elitist. They're all elitists out here. I know in this world that's their nature. The problem is it makes them boring for me.
Yeah.
The hobbits and the Harfoots or whatever, wizards and warriors, they're cool. They're down to earth people. Dwarves know how to party. Actually, hell, I had a good time hanging out with dwarves. It's like hanging out with a bunch of drunk rednecks, Like the dwarves are the rednecks of this world, and the hobbits are like trailer trash people or something. They're like old country ass people. But they, the problem with the elves is that I just think that they're kind of boring in this man. Hanging out with the elves is like hanging out with a bunch of uptight rich assholes, man, at a charity ball.
They love to talk. They love to hear themselves talk.
Yeah, everyone is too formal. Asses are clenched in tight. They're trying to impress everyone, while looking down on everybody. And I'm not saying this just to make fun of the show or anything. I'm saying this because I think that's what the writing is not very good for them. And that is, when I'm watching them, the dialogue of the elves and the acting of the elves came across like people who were trying to do Shakespeare but doing it badly. Like, they're not terrible, terrible actors, but they're taking themselves very seriously, and the dialogue comes out very dry because there's no emotion behind it. That's the elves were some of the characters that a lot of characters I hung out with and I was kind of cool with. The elves were the ones where I was like, there's a lot of elf storytelling in here and subplots, and watching those, I was just kind of like, these dudes are just boring me to tears right now, man.
These heroes shall be granted an honor unrivaled in all our lore.
Expecting Matt Damon from Thor to walk out in a little bit with this.
But even in that scene, he's not delivering that speech well. Like somebody's telling him, like, say it like this. You got to say it like this.
But the rest of them talk like that too. There's a scene before that with what's her name, Gwendolyn, Galadriel. Yeah, there are several scenes where characters are talking like that. Not just that guy.
You like your elves in trees making cookies. That's the problem.
They make some good cookies, man.
They don't talk as much.
Yeah, and they don't want to shut the fuck up and make my cookies.
With a lot of the elf scenes, it just felt to me like, I don't know, it was padding. It's like you could have said everything you have to say, but with half the amount of dialogue.
Well, elves are gonna elf. That's how, really, that's how these elves have been the whole time. I'm not looking at the characters. It's not working for you.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm not looking at the characters. I'm looking at the dialogue. I'm looking at the acting. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do. Shit, they could be goddamn fucking. They could be Jedis or whatever. I don't give a fuck. It's just the acting and dialogue in these parts are not working for me. And again, that's not to hate on anybody else that is working for. As I said, there's a lot of this is working for a lot of people out there. It's just not me, for that part.
Yeah, but I acknowledge.
Martin ain't trying to hear me. You want to use my Raycons, man? Put them on. So you can tune me out, Martin.
Like, what is going on right now?
So you don't have to listen to me rant about this, Martin. I got a couple of Martin.
Can the Raycons block that out? Because I'm having serious doubts right now.
Martin, they can block that out, Martin, for you right there. Martin, these are the everyday earbuds right here. Perfect for blocking out opinions that you hate. The rest of the world out there. Now, people, you know what? I have to do a commercial right now, and of course, I got to do this for the Raycon earbuds, the everyday earbuds, which I was using just a little while ago when I was on a plane. Mm-hmm. Everywhere I'm traveling a lot these days. The earbuds that I listen to, the wireless earbuds I listen to, are the Raycons. The reason why I like these, I have a pair of these everyday earbuds. I also have a pair of the fitness earbuds too. But the everyday earbuds, man, I like these because, first of all, I've had some earbuds that I put in my ears before, not very comfortable. But they got these gel tips on there. Snug. Fit. Just, I put in my ears, I can just feel them getting comfortable in there, man. Just like they about to go to bed or something. These gel tips fit right into your ear. Perfect in-ear fit for those. And they don't budge. Actually, they don't. When I was on the plane, I fell asleep, and I leaned back on my on my ears a little big. You know, you sleep on your side. They're so small, I'm scared about losing them. If I had known, I would have taken them out, but they were so comfortable.
Slip into your
Yeah,
ear
no.
canal.
Where's that music coming from? Get out of my head! Unless you're Raycons. Stay right in there. No, seriously, I had them in my ears and I leaned over and I woke up because I was like, oh shit, they're still in my ears. And I was afraid that they might fall out because they're so small, they'll go somewhere. But no, they stay snug right in my ears.
Okay, right on.
What I really like about these is the time with these. 8 hours of playtime, 32 hours of battery life. So that means when you do run to that 8 hours, just put them back into that charging case. That charging case is going to stay charged for a long time, which means that you get a long life out of the earbuds themselves. And, hey, everybody, look, that's nice. They're snug, sound is nice, and sure, you know, the battery life is cool. Money, you know, can I afford these?
Now we're talking.
Yes, let's get right. Let's cut the bullshit money. People, Raycons are great. They've gotten so many great reviews. And they've got about like 50,000 5-star reviews from different sources out there. But the thing with these is that you get all that quality for half the price of a lot of other earbuds that are out there. And believe me, I've had a few of them and I've tried them, which is why I can tell you that I use these all the time because they're just as good as some of the earbuds that are out there that cost a lot more. I'm telling you, I've done it. I'm not going to mention those other brands, but I've had them. And as I said to you, you know, one of the things that you were talking about, Martin, they tune out everything. They have noise isolation on them. And also, if you want to do, like, I don't know, maybe there's somebody who's trying to kill you or something, you need to be listening. You can just, assassins are after you. You could, like, just tap it, and it has awareness mode on it. So you can start to hear around you.
Okay.
So, you know, so you don't get hit by a car or something when you're walking around. Oh, people, I gave you a lot of reasons to use these. Some of them personal. As I said, I use these all the time. And you need to use these too. They're very, very nice earbuds, man. Price just right and the quality is very high. And if that doesn't convince you, everything that I've said, I'm going to get you with this right here. Go to buyraycon.com/toasted and get 15% off your order of Raycon wireless earbuds. Again, go to buyraycon.com/toasted. That is BUYRAYCON.com/toasted. Toasted is TOASTED, and that'll get you 15% off your order of Raycon wireless earbuds. I want to thank Raycons for, first of all, providing me with such nice earbuds and a product I enjoy. I want to thank them for sponsoring this portion of the show, and I want to thank all of you out there for your support. Listen, y'all been talking about episode 2 because it seems like I'm just being negative on this. Episode 2, I did like more. The reason why I liked it more is because they spent more time on other characters other than these elves, which I found to be very dry characters that, you know, and these other characters didn't seem so self-important. You know, they had one, so they're not called hobbits here. I'm gonna keep saying hobbits because that's what people know what they are.
They're hobbits.
They're hobbits.
I don't think they can even. I don't think they can say hobbits because of the appendices thing.
Oh, is that what it is?
I think
Yeah,
that
there's
might
certain
be
rights,
it.
like things they couldn't touch.
Okay. So they're hobbits, all right. I'm just saying that because you know. If I keep saying Harfoots,
Harfoots. I mean, it's in the appendices.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they're described as having, you know, brown skin.
Yeah.
So anybody who's complaining about some of them being black, it's like, stop.
Tolkien himself said they are of much browner skin
Yes.
in the appendices. Yeah, so don't get mad about it.
Some people said, but Tolkien didn't say that goddamn brown. I mean, he didn't say black.
He said probably like a light. He assumed a light tan. I
Yeah.
imagine.
He meant more like olive-skinned Greek people, not Negroes. But I like the Harfoots, man, or the hobbits here. You know, they have one hobbit named Nori.
Yeah, she's great.
And I enjoyed hanging with her, man, and the rest of these dirty little ass hobbits out here. You know,
They are dirty.
Look, they are everywhere they go. All of them, hair just a nappy, got twigs up in it. They stay dirty, just smudges all over and
Yeah.
everything. I like her character. I like her story. In her story, because I think, again, they feel more like characters that I enjoy because they do have some humor. They do feel a little more down to earth, and I understand their purpose here more. Nori's hanging out with this giant. There's this big ass giant that fell to earth that looks like Tom Hanks in Castaway, and he seems dangerous at first, but she somehow still feels a connection to him because at the same time while he seems dangerous, he seems very sad. He seems like he's confused, and all she does, hey, look. That's gonna, you know how. First of all, you know how kids are. You know how women are. Even when they're little hobbits, they want to help something. They want to adopt something. They want to fix something. And she looks at the giant and says, "Oh, this poor giant. I need to help him. I need to fix him because he does seem a little confused. And really, when you get to know him, he's not that bad, even though he's scary as hell at first."
You won't harm me. Deal?
That Chris Pratt trick works.
Yeah. Oh, you're like, damn, girl, you got some dirty ass. Yeah, man. I like that, man. A lot of these, and a lot of the actors who play them are good. Again, when I say that the elves, I'm not saying I just don't like them because they're just elves. It's because I don't think a lot of them is just, the acting is it's something that really feels, something that makes me relate and enjoy these characters. There's a lot of other characters in here that I enjoy, like Lenny Henry.
Yeah.
I forgot his Hobbit name. But first of all, he's a comedian that's been around for a long time. So, he's a great actor. Whenever he came around, I enjoyed watching him. He's kind of like an elder in the Hobbit or Harfoot village. And he's always got these 3 women follow him around. You can tell they just get on his nerves all the time. But he's a fun character.
There's no misremembering how bleak a season that was.
More likely they just got lost. That's it.
Now leave me the fuck alone. Now, I will say that even the elves, as much as I'm complaining about them, even they loosened up a little bit, or at least one loosened up a little bit. Robert, what's his name? Armayo, who plays Elrond.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, who plays Elrond. Even he as an elf started to loosen up a little bit when he started chilling with the dwarves and whatnot.
Sure.
Again, this part of the show has a lot more humor in it. I'm not saying that this needs to be a comedy or anything. I'm just saying for as dry and as dense as the first episode was, this one's starting to loosen up a little bit and started to feel like, more of that adventurous spirit, more relatable characters, more fun characters than it did in the first half or the first hour. I love this scene where, what's the dwarf's name?
Durin.
I love this conversation of, okay, now you coming around whenever you want something. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to be friends. You missed a lot of important things that happened in my life. And a conversation like that is something that, we've all had with a friend somewhere. And I really enjoyed these characters having that conversation when I saw it here.
The true purpose of your visit, you want something.
I journeyed here to see my friend.
I've lived an entire life in that time.
I'm like, shit, you sensitive.
Well, plus, you figure if you're Elrond, you're like, 20 years is nothing to me. I'm sorry that you had so much going on.
Yeah. I had shit to do. Yeah. I love this character of Durin. This being a show, where the beauty of this being a show works, where you get to see characters expanded in the sense of now you get to see more of their lives, you get to see more of their culture. The dwarves I liked a lot. So it's not that I don't like this show. I have more complaints about the first episode. When it got to the second episode, I was saying, it still has some problems for me, but this is showing promise of where this show could go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I need to give this show more of a chance, but I think that this is starting to show like this. Okay, this is. I think the pacing is starting to pick up to where it needs to be. Because you're right, the pacing of that first episode was completely off.
It's rough.
It's rough. It's slow. Ain't no pacing at all. Really. But still, I think that the storytelling could actually. I don't feel the gravity of the threats of this. There's a lot of mystery, a lot more mystery than reveals. The story progression that I feel is in that. But again, it's picking up, I think. I know you were saying that Sauron is out there, and they said, Sauron, there's a lot of setup and background of Sauron doing bad things, but I still don't feel the threat of Sauron in this yet. I think there's been more talk about this threat than actually kind of, action with this.
That's Sauron's go-to though. It's like he's always like, all right, see you guys later. He's always in the background. He's never like actually involved. He's like either a big old eye.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about him.
Oh, he's just doing little shit here and there, and it's somebody going, he's there, like, no, he's not.
we don't
No,
know.
I'm telling you, he is.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't feel like dealing with that. No.
We have the story with the your man, the archer elf.
Yes. Yeah.
What's his name?
I think his name is, I don't know.
I looked it up before coming here.
Ardian?
It's something like, I know someone in the name.
I'm going to call him Artie.
First of all, I'll tell you, he got that fade. Got that nice fade right there.
The whole
fade.
time looking at this guy, like, no offense to the actor they cast, but the whole time looking at this guy, I was like, this guy's the Submariner.
Oh,
he should have been named.
Oh, yeah. I can see
Well,
that.
I'll tell you what, they got some good barbers over there in Middle.
Hey, the
That's
elves
a-
got everything.
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
they do.
Shit, they know, because I saw those elves. I thought elves were just a white society. I saw him. I was like, nah, that's how you know they got black elves, because somebody know how to cut black hair around there. Again, there's a story where there's a hole that opened up, and he's investigating. A lot of people are going to die. I know it's a setup, but I think we need to start getting to why, again, this is such a threat. And also, this character, he's starting to grow on me a little bit, because when he showed up, he was just his whole thing. He was just mad and moping. And when he got around that girl that he likes, he just got stupid.
Got horny and dumb.
That horny made him dumb, man. That horny because he got around
Always
there.
does.
Did you see that one part he's hanging around her? He didn't know what to do. Hey.
He was malfunctioning.
Yeah, he just starts smelling her. He's like, fuck.
Smell nice.
But I tell you, that's also, it's funny because it's making him stupid, but also it's one of the few things that's making this character like appeal to me a little bit more, because that's showing him he came in just being mad and just being all stoic. I'm like, what the fuck you mad about it? Loosen up a little bit.
He's more human.
Yeah, but when
Because
he
of
gets
that.
around her and he starts like flirting and he starts like kind of getting sheepish, because he comes in all smooth, like, I run and shit around here, but he gets around there, he ain't running a goddamn thing. He don't know what to do. And I think that's kind of cool, because you're right, it humanizes that character in a way that I think that a lot of these characters need to be.
Beauty has great power to heal souls.
Boy, those necks
I
snap.
see y'all. You about to throw that water on him. Get your black ass away from him. I see y'all out here.
Pretty much what he is in the episode.
Yeah. Somebody said, now you think I'm being childish. Somebody said, Lord of the Tang. You stop it. No, stop.
That's not even clever.
But later on, like I said, it's some stuff in here that I think, given a chance, they might be able to explain. They might be able to elaborate on. They might be able to go in and kind of speed this up a little bit to where we start really, really getting into the heart of this story, and the pacing will get better. Second episode is getting there. I don't think it's fully there yet. But I will tell you, though, no, it's the music is great in this.
Oh, the music's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful show. The money's there. I'm going to ask you, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, no, it's a gorgeous show, but is it? I don't know. At the same time, Game of Thrones, because everybody's talking about this, like, man, this is the first time I've ever seen a blockbuster level show like this on TV. I'm like, well, Game of Thrones had it, man. I don't really see what they're doing much different money-wise than they did with Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones was, if you want to talk about, because everybody's talking about blockbuster television now. This is the age of blockbusters being seen on the small screen. Game of Thrones is one of the first ones to do that, I think, because everybody would watch this and be like, wow, the scope and scale of this is incredible. Those dragons are amazing in this. So I'm looking at this show and I'm thinking, it's not like we haven't seen that really before.
Well, I mean, they get a great job with Game of Thrones, no doubt. But this still has bigger scenes of armies and lush backgrounds and all kinds of things. And even watching the most recent House of the Dragon, when the dragons show up, I'm like, these look okay. I can still kind of tell their effects. But here, everything is tight. That was one of the first things I noticed. Like, wow, it's very populated. All the backgrounds are integrated. It doesn't look green screeny. It's first time in a long time. I was like, man, all the money shows.
Think it needs some improvements. How many more episodes we got to go?
6.
6. So,
Sure.
You know, it's hard to really say anything based on 2 episodes, as you know, we often do get these shows and we only have a little bit to watch. I'd like to come back and revisit this after the 6 episodes,
The 8th episode.
or the 8th episode, the 6 more episodes we have left. I would like to come back and visit this again and give a full review after that has happened, because you know, and just to be completely honest with you, if I didn't have to look at this for the show, I probably wouldn't be too eager to jump back into it. These aren't really ending in a way that I want to come back. I don't think there's good cliffhangers here. I don't think there's anything that's story-wise that is leaving me in suspense. At least from these 2 episodes, I don't have that, so I don't feel any kind of urgency to rush back into it. There's other things I'd rather watch than this at the moment, but you know, we'll see. To be fair, and again, you know, as you can judge by what's happening in the room here, there's a lot of people, a lot of different opinions of this, and you know, mine just happens to be more in the it's okay, you know, while other people think it's great. Hopefully, one day it'll get to that point where it's great for me if I go back and see it. But right now, it's not exactly there yet. Hopefully, it will be.
Okay. I already said I really dig the show, and
No, I'm just letting you do your wrap up and give your rating.
yeah.
You know when I look at you.
Did you give your rating?
Yeah, no, he didn't.
No.
What you scared of?
Oh, I'm not scared.
Give your rating.
No, I don't want to.
Not until after we give ours, and he's like, all right, I'll come and I'll know what
I'm not changing a damn thing about my rating. Okay, you know, I'll tell you my rating
Didn't
is
give
right
your
now.
rating yet.
No, I'll tell you my rating.
Rental?
It's a high rental.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell by what I said.
Yeah, no.
You know what? I might not have been as into it if we hadn't done our retro review of the Fellowship of the Ring, but that kind of brought me back into the world, and so for me, it's a low full price.
There's a couple little mysteries that are interesting. One thing I wanted to bring up, that who looks like a giant to the Harfoots, but is actually a regular man. Like, is that Gandalf?
That's what I'm thinking.
Is that Saruman? Like, people are like, or it could be like all these other people, or is that actually Sauron in this form? Because people have said that during this age, because he's like, I gotta get out of here, and I have to make sure people know who I am. He took on multiple forms and pretended to be multiple people, and so we don't know. There's something weird with him.
Somebody says it's just a homeless dude.
It could be. It could be. I've been calling him Derpy Gandalf because he's like a baby. He doesn't know what to do. I think that's the story I'm most invested in. I want to see play out. And so they kind of have me in some ways. Other ways they don't. So it's right now it's a big mix. But I think that episode 2 ended in a much better place than the first episode. So I'm more like a matinee right now on this.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
we're everywhere on it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and you know, and like if you watched a movie and you got an eighth of the way, you would be like, yeah, I don't know about this. I'm gonna walk out. You're like, I'm gonna stick around and see what happens.
Yeah, like I said, I have nothing against this. I'm very critical of it because I'm not. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was bored by it, but that was the first episode. I really do hope that this goes in a direction where the second episode was. The second episode was pretty entertaining, and more so than the first one. But we'll see. We'll see.